You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now.
Hello, welcome to Tifo IRL. I am JJ Bull, and we've just watched Manchester City absolutely dominate Chelsea in the Premier League in a 1-0 win. Pep Guardiola has got his revenge on Thomas Tuchel for the Champions League final that Chelsea won. You may remember that happened some time ago. And what we're going to do in this video is look at how they did that and what they did to do that and how it happened. All those things to come, but first we'll look at how the teams lined up and what the plan seemed to be, and then we'll look at how that worked out. So there's a few things we kind of knew or could suspect would have happened before this game. Both managers will have been prepared for what they saw. Chelsea always play with this back three, protected normally by a 2, but in recent games, Tuchel's transitioned that to be more of a 3 in midfield, so it's a 3-5-2, and have Jorginho playing as a 6 here, with your back 3, Kovacic and Kante here. And the idea is meant to be that when they're pressing high up the pitch like this, you've got Lukaku and Werner can look after these guys here, Diaz and Laporte, and then you've got Kante and Kovacic kind of blocking this bits here. So you see, this is the shape I'm talking about. And the idea then is that the ball is shown wide because Chelsea basically block the middle of the pitch. Then you've got Jorginho holding it all together, you've got the back 3, and the wing backs want to get up high and wide to help give you width in attack. But Manchester City had learned from the Champions League, and what they were trying to do in previous games against Chelsea was try and get the ball over the top of Chelsea's high line. And they play a high line even though it's a back 3. They push up really high. And so in the past games, they've played people like Raheem Sterling and Ferran Torres who can get in behind this and utilise the space that's left in behind these guys here. Try and draw a line. Obviously that's where the space is. But instead of doing that and trying to sit a bit deeper and launch balls over the top, which is what City have done and Chelsea have done against Manchester City, Guardiola clearly came into this desperate just to pin them completely back and stop them from playing out. Now, James got taken out of the game with injuries. We'll put Thiago Silva in, and that moved Azpilicueta to right wing back. Silva took up his space in the middle and was actually really good. Christensen, Silva, Rudiger, Azpilicueta. Now, the way they did this, Manchester City, you might think they play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. It's a 4-4-2. It changes in different phases of play. And one of the things that you'll notice is that Bernardo Silva, you think of as kind of a attacking midfielder, maybe an inside forward, is basically playing as part of a double pivot next to Rodri this whole time. So when they were building up play from the back, Rodri may be coming here for this phase of play. So you've got this ball between the strikers. Werner and Lukaku never get close to be able to stop this. Ball can go straight into Rodri here. Or if Rodri's somewhere else, Silva would come in here instead and be able to also receive that ball. So the shape in build-up might look something like this. Walker pulls out wide, Diaz and Laporte, Cancelo pulls out wide like this. And that's one shape that City have, because it changes constantly. You get Foden, not a striker, but playing as a striker. De Bruyne just off of him, but also really a striker. Grealish was a left winger, pushing right up. So the whole time, whenever Chelsea want to play out from the back, which is how they want to play, you've got essentially a 4. Gabriel Jesus is not a winger. You think of him as a central forward, but he's deployed on the right wing. He's really disciplined defensively, and he's constantly tracking Alonso. But because he's pushed so far high up the pitch, and because he's a danger and can swap and rotate with any of these players here, it's kind of why you've got him rather than Mahrez. Mahrez is a winger, can pretty much always only come off his left foot to try and do something off of that wing. But Jesus is effectively an extra striker. So they're playing with no strikers, but also 3, and also 1, and also 2. Jesus, De Bruyne, Foden, and Grealish, keep these guys pinned back. Then you've got Cancelo. So if Azpilicueta wants to try and push up a little bit here, you've got Cancelo here. Because Chelsea are playing a 5, and by having this front 4, City are giving themselves a bit of an advantage. They've not matched the man for man, but there's very little room for any Chelsea players to do anything with the ball. Jorginho is going to be blocked. Either De Bruyne or Foden will make sure they move to cover this ball into Jorginho. So if they're trying to, let's have a look at their passing options. If you've got Mendy, that's a dangerous ball because you've got Rudiger there. Foden's here, Grealish might be here, say. So your only real option is to go out as Azpilicueta. I might push out here. But if you try and play this chip ball over here, Cancelo just comes pushing up to squeeze him in. Rodri and Bernardo Silva kind of patrol this bit of the pitch, and there's just no way out of here. Kovacic and Kante couldn't get in the game whatsoever. And when they got the ball in the opposition half, weirdly Chelsea's passing accuracy in the opposition half is really low for players you'd expect to be much higher because they're getting pushed off of it. Then you've got Lukaku and Werner, and the idea is that because City are obviously going to push really high up the pitch, which they did, Sometimes they would push their back three like this, so it would be sort of a diamond. Either Silva or Rodri can pull into this space, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So you've always got this sort of shape. That's to help with ball rotation. So you can always keep it moving. There's always an option. Lukaku and Werner are here showing the ball wide. One of these guys drops in to make it. So the 4-4-2 very quickly becomes like a 2-1 or something. The numbers don't matter. Basically, there's always options everywhere for them to build play. Now, this has allowed them to have total control of the pitch. So Chelsea can't play it from the back because they're squished in. If Alonso pulls it here, this means you're going to have a 4v3. That's obviously a huge advantage that City have here. So then you've got to pull these guys back or pull Kovacic back or something like that. So there's just no options to get out. Then Silva and Rodri are patrolling this bit here to keep this. Walker sometimes overlaps. That's another overload that they've got over here. And Jesus can come in inside the pitch like this. Chelsea just couldn't get out. That's basically what happened, is the change of tactic from the Champions League final is rather than sitting a bit deeper, being more cautious and respectful, because you know Chelsea are going to block the middle of the pitch and they're going to try and push high. Instead, City just went for them from the start, really aggressive, kept them pinned in, and they couldn't keep the ball. And they kept getting cleared. As soon as the ball gets cleared, the quicker it comes back into them. And that's what was happening. And what we do now is look at what Tuchel tried to do to fix it and how it almost made a difference to the game. So the change that Tuchel made was in the second half. They were already a goal down, I think, at this point. But what was happening, like we were saying, Lukaku and Werner just weren't really affecting play as part of a press. They weren't able to press. So Conte and Kovacic were supposed to be able to help out by blocking this. So you might look like sometimes it looked like a 3 when they were trying to engage early. So you'd see Kovacic would come up here and be here, but he's not really affecting play as much as you want him to. So off comes N'Golo Conte, he goes away. On comes Kai Havertz and goes straight over here. So now you've got straight away a front 3, so it's 3-4-3. Jorginho can push up more alongside Kovacic here. And just that one change made a huge difference to how Chelsea were able to play out, because now they had an extra forward who was really affecting play and trying to press people out of possession. It also meant that City had a 2 at the back here against the 3. So then they have to change the way that they defend that. So then suddenly you had Walker would stay a little bit further back and it becomes more of a 3 to deal with that. And that just changes other things in the pitch. Suddenly you've matched up in the midfield, Rodri's versus Jorginho or Silva's versus Kovacic. And although City are still doing the thing where they rotate and making sure everyone's moving in, Chelsea were able to get the ball into these guys and there were more interchanges and more options on the ball. That's one of the big things that happened. It also coincided with this press that City were playing early in the game is really energy demanding. And there's not really a way you can keep that up for 90 minutes. They did it for about 35 minutes in the first half, started to slow down a little bit. Then in the second half, and that's when Chelsea came into it a little bit in the first half. Then in the second half, once they had the goal, they could change the way they pressed. They still pressed high, but did it less and less. And that meant that you saw at the end of the game, De Bruyne was absolutely knackered, had to come off. And they put on, I think it was Mahrez came on for him. Then they put Jesus through the middle here. Exactly the same system, same shape. It just meant they had, I don't know, fresher legs on is what you have. And that's the thing, the game changes, like you can press like that, but it's not a video game. So at some point you've got to change the way you do that. And so City naturally dropped off a little bit, which then allowed Chelsea to push up. But the thing with that is that then would allow them to play the sort of balls over the top that Ederson can do, where you can just fire something here, and then you can isolate Grealish or Foden against one of these guys here. And Foden, Grealish had a lot of fun in this left wing. He was going past Christensen an awful lot. And Thiago Silva had a couple of moments 1v1 where just he used positioning, just awareness of his surroundings to be able to slow the game down without getting beaten for pace by someone. So staying a yard ahead of them off the ball rather than trying to beat someone for pace, because you're not going to be able to do that when you're as old as him. And so that's the thing. City were prepared for this as part of the game plan, I would imagine. I'm not the manager, so I can't be sure, but this is the thing. They have a goal. They can suddenly change the way they play the game, where they engage, draw Chelsea out so you then hit them on the break. And they saw the chances they had late on. You had Grealish fire a ball across the box, outside of his foot, across kind of here. And really, it should probably be in a goal, but he plays it outside of the foot, kind of bendy pass that just skips where this player should be. And all the guys in the box that had joined in weren't able to do anything with it. One of those chances, another one, Grealish came through, again, kind of on the break in transition, going right through the middle of Chelsea because they were opening up spaces by trying to get into the game. Meant Grealish could get through, and he missed a 1v1 with Mendy, who had a good game. So, It's not that Chelsea were totally outplayed or anything like that. They just didn't really expect this high press that kept them pinned back in, couldn't get out of it, and it's something that opposition managers, I think, have noticed is a way to play against them. Aston Villa did something similar recently. You push them high, and if you get it right and you get a reward with a goal or something like that, then you're able to change the way you engage, or where you engage, and how you press. And you can go back a little bit, let Chelsea come onto you, and then there's space in behind to hit the balls over the top. They'll be absolutely fine, they're an amazing team. But City have won this. The revenge has been had. They don't have a trophy for it, but it was a very interesting game for a tactics nerd like me, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you like this video too. And that's all from me. Have a lovely time.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do enjoy Tifo, then you'll probably also like The Athletic. If you watch our tactics videos, you should go and read Michael Cox. If you're into data, read Tom Warville. And if you're into transfers, it's David Ornstein. Plus, if you're a fan of any Premier League team, then there's a journalist dedicated to you, and you can try it for free for 30 days now by clicking the link in the description.